Alright, hello and welcome to our video about CDK8 and the associated disease colorectal adenocarcinoma. Our story starts out on July 6, 2015, when a man had an appointment scheduled to see his doctor. The man had symptoms including diarrhea, a feeling to make continuous bowel movements, blood in the stool, fatigue, and weight loss. The symptoms have been occurring since early January of the same year. The man was scheduled for an appointment with a gastroenterologist and an appointment for a colonoscopy. The colonoscopy showed a growth in the man's lower colon. Biopsies of this growth were taken and examined specific gene changes in the lab. A few days later, the man had received his test results. The biopsy had come back positive for stage 3 colorectal cancer, or more specifically, colorectal adenocarcinoma. Colorectal adenocarcinoma is a cancer that grows in the epithelial cells that line the colon or rectum. A regimen of radiation therapy was immediately scheduled in an effort to shrink the tumor before removing it with surgery. Colorectal can start with many different ways, and it still hasn't been completely determined what can start it. But one molecule that can aid in tumorigenesis is cyclin-dependent kinase 8, or CDK8. Alright, before we dive into what it is, I think it's important to understand the structure of CDK8 because structure does determine function. And it's made up of 364 amino acids arranged in a quaternary structure. In order to perform the functions that it does, it binds to the mediator leg/tail domain via the MED13 subunit. And as you're seeing right now, the highlighted molecule on the left is CDK8. And you can notice the various helical strands are the amino acids that are bound together. Now into the function. It is normally involved in gene transcription in nearly all RNA polymerase II dependent genes and regulation of transcriptional activity. However, when colorectal adenocarcinoma begins to happen, this gene will become amplified and will begin to activate beta-catenin-mediated transport, driving tumorigenesis, creating the tumor. Now back to our story. Before removing the tumor via surgery, doctors wanted to give the man treatments of radiation in an effort to shrink the tumor to make the surgery process easier and to save his colon. Radiation therapy is a local treatment, unlike chemotherapy, which affects the whole body. It works by making small breaks in the cancer cells' DNA to keep them from growing and dividing and causing them to die. Once this process was completed, the man's tumor was successfully removed, and he was then placed on a treatment of chemotherapy to keep the cancer from coming back. The man was then given adjuvant chemotherapy for the next 6 months with the drug oxaliplatin to kill any cancer cells that may have remained after the surgery and to lower the chance of the cancer coming back. Oxaliplatin does this by binding together strands of the cancer cell's DNA, preventing them from replicating. Now you might have been wondering where this story has come from, if it's just a random one from the internet. And it's actually a story about my dad. He actually had colorectal cancer, so this is basically highlighting his story of dealing with it. And I thought because he was the one that went through it, this really interested me in this gene. So yeah. And now these are just the references from where I got all the stuff for this. So thank you guys for watching, and hope you learned something about colorectal cancer and CDK8.